Morning all. In the series of lectures of linear programming problems, today let me see how to solve the dual problem, that is dual simplex problem. So let me consider a LPP which is your simplex LPP. It is maximized z equal to minus 3x1 minus x2 subject to constraint. We have a constraint x1 plus x2 greater than or equal to 1. 2x1 plus 3x2 greater than or equal to 2, x1 x2 greater than or equal to 0. Now we convert this LPP to standard LPP, and over here to convert this LPP to standard LPP we are introducing surplus or slack variable. But first of all we convert this inequality to less than or equal to type. If it is greater than or equal to type, then we must introduce artificial variable over here, and so to avoid this, we are converting this inequality to less than or equal to type by multiplying this inequality to minus 1. So minus x1 minus x2 less than or equal to minus 1. And the second equation is 2x1, sorry, minus 2x2 minus 3x2 less than or equal to minus 2. So we consider our problem in this manner, right? So let me transform these to standard form. Since the inequalities are less than or equal to type, we are introducing slack variable over here. So my objective function becomes maximize z is equal to minus 3x1 minus x2. Since I have two equations, we are introducing two slack variables with 0 cost. So plus 0x1 plus 0x2. And in my first constraint, minus x1 minus x2 plus x1 is equal to minus 1. And second constraint, minus 2x2 minus 3x2 plus I have x2 is equal to minus 2. So this is my standard form. Now I convert this standard form to matrix form as, in our matrix form we have the cost matrix, which is, that is the coefficient of xi in objective function. So that means it minus 3 minus 1 0 0. So minus 3 minus 1 0 0. Okay. Then I have the A matrix A, that is the coefficient of x in constraint. So since I have x1 x2 x1 x2, I have four variables. So x1 x2 x1 x2. Okay. And these are the cost of related terms only. Okay. So for first the variable random the variable x1, the equation, the first equation is minus x1 minus x2 plus s1. So over here it has minus 1 minus 1, s1 is 1, and since s2 is absent it is 0. Then for this equation we have minus 2 and minus 3. Then since over here s1 is absent, we write over here 0, and s2 is 1 over here. Then the matrix B is, we have matrix B as minus 1 minus 2. This is B1 and this is B2. Okay. And I have the X matrix as, since I have values of X side becomes x1 x2 s1 s2. Fine. So I have the matrix X over here as matrix X over here as x1 x2 s1, and I have s2. Right? Now we can find the ideal, that is initial basic physical solution, by using the formula xb is equal to b inverse into b. So over here the basic variables are s1 and s2, and the variables which are present in the our original LP, these are the non-basic variables which are x1 x2. Okay, so x1 x2 is equal to b inverse, that is we have, since over here it is 2 by 2 matrix, identity matrix of 2 by 2. So it is 1 0 0 1, and the matrix B is minus 1 minus 2. So over here we get the values as s1 is, if we multiply this into this, we get 1 into minus 1 is minus 1 plus 0 into minus 2 is 0, hence we get minus 1. And what about s2? S2 is, if we multiply this by this, that is 0 into minus 1 we get 0, and 1 into minus 2 it is minus 2. Hence we get the basic variables, the values of basic variables, x1 is minus 1 and x2 is minus 2. Now, let me have our table. So, I can have a table in this manner. So, the cost matrix, the cost value related to x1, cost value related to x1 is minus 3. So, right over here. For x2 it is minus 1, for x1 it is 0, and for x2 it is again 0. Fine? Okay. Now, the basic variable, we can write the basic variable, that is called as x2 over here. So, x1, x2 over here. Then, the values of basic variable, that is minus 1, minus 2, present over here. And the cost related to x1, x2. So, cost of x1 is 0 over here. And cost of x2 is 0 over here. Now, over here, we can place our A matrix. Matrix A. So, that is this matrix. So, let me write this. So, minus 1, minus 1, 1 and 0. Then minus 2, minus 3, we have 0 and 1. Fine. Now, we have this as, so let me find Z. So, we can find Z by using formula CBXZ. So, CBXZ means over here the values of CB becomes 0. So, we get all the values of Z for this table only as 0. 0 into minus 1 is 0. 0 into minus 2 is again 0. So, it will be over here, all the values of Z becomes 0. Now, let me find the next term, that is delta Z. Delta Z is ZZ minus CZ. So, ZZ minus CZ, that means ZZ minus minus plus 3. Then we have ZZ is 0. 0 minus minus plus, so it is 1. Then 0, 0, 0, 0. So, these two values become 0. Right? Now, so this is actually our regular simplex table. Right? Now, in this method, there is one small change as. So, let me take the values of delta Z, that is ZZ minus CZ. If all ZZ minus CZ greater than or equal to 0, and all XPI, that is your delta Z is strictly greater than or equal to 0, and the values of XPI is also greater than or equal to 0. Let me take the values of XPI. No, since all values of delta Z is greater than 0, but XPI is not greater than or equal to 0. So, if this case happens, then the current solution is optimum basic feasible solution. Okay. Now, the second case is if delta Z is greater than or equal to 0, but at least one XPI is less than 0. At least one XPI is less than 0. Since we have both the XPI as less than 0, then hence we can have this case. So, we proceed to next step. Or we may have one more case, that is all the values of delta Z is less than or equal to 0. All the values of delta Z less than or equal to 0, then the method fails. That is, we have three cases over here. For this problem, we have second case, that is all Z minus all the values of delta Z, that is Z minus CZ greater than or equal to 0, and at least one XPI is less than 0. Then we proceed to next step. Okay. So, now proceed to next step, we need to find. So, to proceed to next step, we need to find the most negative XPI. So, over here, out of these XPIs, we select most negative. So, most negative is minus 2 over here. Okay. And from this minus 2, that means since this is most negative, minus 2, that means the corresponding element is H2. And H2 is now my leading element. H2 is my now leading element. Okay. So, this element is now leading. So, in simplex table, actually we are entering one variable and then by using the ratio we can leave the variable. Over here, in reverse simplex method, we can get the leading variable first. And then we can find the entering variable by using this formula. Okay. Now, over here, since 2 is my value of k. 2 is my value of k, that is y to z. Okay. So, now we can divide this 2 by this value because this is my key row. We call this as key row. Now, we need to find the entering variable over here. So, divide your YKZ. YKZ is this. Is it less than 0? No. Is it less than 0? No. So these ratios are absent over here. So we have only two ratios. Right? So out of these two ratios, now we need to select the largest ratio. We need to select the largest ratio. So out of these two, the largest ratio is this, and hence the variable x2 is now entering variable. Variable x2 is entering and variable x2 is leaving, and here is the intersection point. -3 is the pivotal element or key element. Pivotal element or key element. Now, as in our usual index method, we transform these to 1 and we can convert these to 0. Okay. So my next table is have the next table over here, and it is similar table we have. Okay. So CB, then we have B, then we have XB, then it is CZ. The values of CZ becomes as it is, then the variables are also as it is. Okay. Only the change is we can remove only H2 and we can enter X2 over here. So X1 and X2. The cost of H1 is 0 and cost of X2 is -1. So 0 and -1. Right? Now let me have the row transformation first. We can divide row 2 by -3. So it becomes 1 over here. Okay? So -2 divided by -3. It is 2 by 3. Positive 2 by 3. Then what about this value? It is again same 2 by 3. Then next value is 1. Then 0 multiplied by -3 it is 0. And 1 divided by -3 is -1 by 3. Okay? We can multiply this row by -1 by 3. Fine. Now the second transformation is, let me have the transformation as R1. We have R1 minus R2. So we can have the values of R1 become, so let me write over here. The values of R1 is these values. Okay. So the values of R1 becomes -1. We have -1, -1, and 0. Now we can subtract the value R2. So R2 is this. So R2 is -2 by 3. Again -2 by 3. Then it is minus. So it is -1. Means we need to add this. Okay. So let me add it. So again what we add now? 0. And the last value is again, since it is minus, we have -1 by 3. Okay. Fine. So let me find the addition. So -1 plus 2 by 3 is -3 plus 2. So -3 plus 2 by 3. This is -1 by 3. This is also -1 by 3. Then -1 gives me 0. 1 plus 0 gives me 1. Then it is -1 by 3. So let me write the value over here. It is -1 by 3 4 square. Then again it is -1 by 3. Then it is 0. Then I have 1. And then we have -1 by 3. Fine. So that is my second table. Now let me find ZZ. So it is ZZ over here. So ZZ means CB XZ. So CB. So CB into XZ. So 0 into this. So I can't multiply 0 by this row. I can multiply only this, because since if I multiply by 3. Fine. Now the next is Zj minus Cj. So Zj minus Cj. So what we have? So minus 2 by 3 minus minus plus 3. So it is minus 2 plus 9 by 3. So how much it is? 7 by 3. Right? Now next thing. Minus 1 minus minus plus 1. It will be 0. Then I have 0, 0. Then 1 by 3. 1 by 3 minus 0, which is 1 by 3. Right? Okay. Now let me find the last. It is not actually last. Over here we are finding first of all which is the living variable. Okay. Yj and Cj. Right. Now simple addition. Whether all delta j is greater than or equal to 0. Yes, it is. And check the values of xbi. If xbi is greater than 0, then the current solution is optimum solution. Then the values of xbi. No. One of the values is less than 0. So we proceed to next step. It is not optimum solution. Since all the delta j, that means Zj minus Cj greater than 0, and at least one xbi is less than 0, hence we proceed to next step. Okay. So out of these negative values, we are selecting more negative. We are selecting more negative, and the most negative is only one value is negative. This is the value. So the S1 is now my living variable. S1 is now my living variable, and the value of k over here is 1. Okay. So y1z. So that means we can divide this row by this row, and we call this as key row. We call this as key row. So we can divide Zj minus Cj to key row. So 7 by 3 divided by minus 1 by 3. So it is minus 7. Okay. Then next we have 0 divided by 0. It is 0. Then I have 0 divided by 1. It is again 0. Then we have again no. Actually, if we check whether our YKB is less than 0, then only we have the ratio. Okay. So since the YKB is positive, we can't have it. YKB is positive, we can't have it. YKB is negative, we have the ratio. So 1 by 3 divided by minus 1 by 3 is minus 1. Right? Okay. Now check. So now we can, out of these, we can select the largest ratio. Largest ratio. And my largest ratio over here is minus 1. Right? So minus 1, that means my x2 variable is now entering variable, and x1 variable is my living variable. Okay? x2 is entering and x1 is living, and hence the pivotal element is minus 1 by 3 now. Pivotal element is minus 1 by 3. So let me have now table over here. We have the table actually as it is. Only the difference is we are entering the new variable and moving old one, and we can have the row transformation so that the key element becomes 1. So we can transform this to 1 and this to 0. Okay. So what we have now over here, the S2 is entering and X2 is adding. So the cost of S2 is 0. And the cost of x2 is minus 1. Okay. Now, let me multiply this row by minus 3. So, minus 3 into R1. So, minus 3 into R1 means minus 3 into R1. So, multiply this by minus 3. So, what we get? 1. Then, it is again 1. So, 0, 1. No, it is not 1. Actually, 1 into minus 3 is minus 2. Fine. And minus 3 into 1 minus 2 is 1. Right? Okay. Now, to transform this to 0, we have to transformation as R2 minus what? It is plus. R2 plus 1 by 3 R1. R2 plus 1 by 3 R1. So, let me have the calculation over here. So, one of the calculation I can do, and then other all you may perform the calculation, right? So minus 3, 1. Then we have plus what? 1 by 3. 1 by 3, 1 by 3, 1 by 3, 1 by 3, 1 by 3. No, actually, sorry, I have the mistake. So we can write these values. So 2 by 3, next is again 2 by 3, then 1, then 0, and I have minus 1 by 3. Then I can add up 1 by 3 with the multiplication of R1. So multiplication of R1 means these values. So 1, then I have 1, then I have 0, then it is minus 3 and 1. Okay, so what is the answer? So 2 by 3 plus 1 by 3. So it is 3 by 3 means 1. So 2 by 3 plus 1 by 3 is again 1. So 1 plus 0 into 1 by 3, that means it is again 1. So 0 minus 1 by 3 into minus 3, so it is minus 1. So it is minus 1. So 2 by 3, 2 by 3, 1, 0, 5. And minus 3 plus 1 by 3 is 0. So the value becomes 1, 1, 1, minus 1 and 0. So 1, 1, 1, minus 1 and what we have? 0. Right? So that is the value. Now let me find Z. So Z in CBA. So since the value is 0, 0 into 1, 0, minus 1 into 1, it is minus 1. Then 0 into 0, 0, minus 1 into 1, it is again minus 1. Then 0 into minus 3, 0, minus 1 into minus 1, plus 1. Then 0 into 1 gives me 0, minus 1 into 0 gives me again 0. Now let me find Z minus C. So Z minus C. So minus 1, minus 1 plus 3, minus 1 plus 3 is 2. Then minus 1 plus 1 gives me 0. Then 1 minus 0, 1, 0 minus 0, 0. Now check whether all Z minus Cz greater than 0. Yes, it is. And check whether all the values of xbi greater than 0. So yes, all the values of xbi are greater than 0. So we will stop over here. The current solution is my optimum solution. So we need not find the last row. That is the ratio, right? So my current solution is the value of x2 over here is, instead of minus 1, we can write the value of x2 as plus 1 simply. Okay? Since it is a dual project, we are shifting our sign. So the value of x2 is 1, the value of x1 is 0, and the value of z becomes, so we have the value of z as, we can multiply by CBA. So this gives me 0. And minus 1 plus 1, so 1. So the value of z is 1. So this is my solution by using dual simplex method. Right? So the difference in simplex method and dual simplex method is very simple. In simplex method, we are first of all we are entering the variable and the variable is leaving. Next, fine. Okay. But in dual simplex method, we are first of all leaving the variable. Then after finding the ratio, that is yk that is delta z divided by yk, we can enter the variable and then we get the pure solution. Right? As well as if your all the values of delta z becomes greater than or equal to 0, then in simplex method we stop over there. But over here, one more condition, additional condition in dual simplex method is there. That is, check whether all delta z is greater than 0 as well as all the values of xbi strictly greater than 0. Then only you can stop, and the current solution is optimum solution. So for my problem, the value of